Welcome, everybody, to the Normandy newsfeed, your monthly podcast for all things gaming and geek culture. We're going to kick off today with our first podcast of 2023. I've got a Fish and a Dante with me here today. Thank you for joining me, guys,
Hi.
as
Yo.
always. And we're going to kick off today's podcast with one of my favorite sections, which is What's New?
How you holding up, Skipper?
So, in this section, we're going to basically talk about just some of the games, TV shows, anime, books, everything, anything we want to talk about. I'm going to kick off today by talking about what I've been doing in the last month, which is recently in the last week, I got Fire Emblem Engage, and I've been playing a lot of that. I've put about 10 hours into it so far. Really enjoying it. My first experience with Fire Emblem was Three Houses, which I will admit got me hooked into the franchise. I haven't played some of the older ones like Awakening, which I know apparently is the best one in the series. That's what I'm told.
Get on it.
I need to get on it, I know. But I'm very much enjoying Engage, and I do love the fact that the main character has been quite warmly called Colgate-san because of the hair.
Pepsi Man.
Pepsi Man, yeah. So I chose to play as a female character. I'm actually really glad I did that. I wasn't sure about the design of everything and the looks of the characters, but actually they're really growing on me. Story, I still haven't got a clue what's going on. I'm very intrigued by the main protagonist that seems to have amnesia. I'm very intrigued about what happened 1,000 years ago. But yes, I'm very much enjoying that and the characters, and it's just the great turn-based combat of the Fire Emblem series. And it seems to be more focused on that, which I know will make many people happy, because I know a lot of people, Fish is definitely one of them, that didn't enjoy the amount of time, should we say, that was spent at Garrett Macht, was it, in Three Houses, with the lessons and talking to your students and things like that. So it is a lot more focused on the minute to minute, like the combat and the turn-based battle system. I do really like the new Engage mechanic. I'm really enjoying the rings and the how they can change it up. You can sort of get boosted abilities if you're the same class, or you can like equip different classes. Like, so you could have like a Pegasus that's weak to bow and arrow, but you could actually equip them with an Engage that's like strong to that or something like that. So you can really change it up. It's really interesting. So yeah, I've got at the moment like a thief that's all like stabby and poison enemies and stuff, but she's also got like a healing Engage equipped, so she can like heal people from a distance while poking them with sharp pointy knives and poisoning them.
I've just unlocked the same character.
Nice. I do like her. She's really good. I just met one of the cutest characters in it called Anna, and she's so cute. And apparently she can ride a wolf or something. I've seen that in the trailers.
There's usually an Anna in every Fire Emblem, and she's usually the merchant.
Yeah, she's adorable. Anyway, she's very cute. She's got like this little axe, and she's tiny.
Hold on. You're both playing it. Edge is playing it. Should I buy this game?
Yes.
As somebody who was very vocal about how much I like Three Houses, this is back to form. This is just as enjoyable so far as Awakening was. So yeah, they've really reined it back in and leveled out the battle to relationship building ratio.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where I actually feel like, yeah, I want to see the relationship between these characters, but I also don't want that to stop me from being out on a battlefield, which is the main point of the game. And they've really pulled that back in. So yeah, I have so far nothing really bad to say about it. It's back on form.
Yeah, it's good fun. It seems the story is it seems more focused in terms of the story as well, a little bit more linear, whereas Three Houses has branching paths. I haven't come across anything like that at the moment, so it does seem like they're focusing much more on a linear story, but obviously I'm still only 10 hours in, so it's still a little bit early to make a judgment on that, obviously. But yeah, I'm very much enjoying it. Other than that, other gaming wise, I jumped into Destiny 2. Don't know why I decided to make that leap. But another content creator called Mother Mantis is a big Destiny fan. plays with the crew, and she basically was like, "You should play it. I'll play it with you." And I wanted to do more like collaborations and stuff with other content creators. So we've been playing Destiny 2, and I'm very sorry, but I have bitten the Destiny bug. And I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm mostly enjoying it because I have a female, like it's an all female fire team, and it's so rare to just get like a group of girls just giggling and laughing and shooting things and
This
being
is ladies'
gleeful.
night.
Yeah.
Get your gun and fight.
Exactly. Just being gleeful. I got a bow last night and it was amazing. It was so good. But yes, I get teased regularly because I'm like, this is my favorite gun. And I'm like, no, this is my favorite gun. Oh, wait, half an hour later. No, this is my favorite gun. So the gunplay and the powers are really fun. And I'm playing as like a female hunter and she looks pretty swish. Although she's got a little bit too much dark eyeshadow. She's going a little bit rogue. But yeah, like I'm really, really enjoying it. Like to the point of I was quite bad on Saturday night and ended up staying up till 4 o'clock in the morning playing. So
Been
bad.
there. We've all been there.
I was like,
It
I'm
was
not
at school
working
night.
tomorrow. It's fine. And then I got up on Sunday and I'm like, I'm too old for this. I can't do this anymore. My body's like, what are you doing? So, but I did enjoy every moment. It was very funny. So what have you guys been up to then in the last month?
Last month, like you, picked up Fire Emblem, but we've just tread that ground, so I won't tread it again. I've got really back into Pokemon Cafe remakes on the mobile, mainly because I finally, after all this time, joined a team in it and started actually doing the events which require teamwork. And although there's nothing in the case of interaction other than donating chunks to other people so that they can play more and working towards a shared goal, it's really kind of given me that boost again to just quite enjoy that game on just a casual, when a little bit of downtime, let's jump on that, do that.
Is it like a mobile game or like a
Yeah, it's a mobile game. It's on
mobile
the
game?
Switch as well.
Alright.
Puzzle game, and it's basically just wave your finger around the screen and match up icons of the same
It looks
type.
cute. Yeah.
It's good fun. Like I said, like all things, it's a free to play, so microtransactions up the wazoo. But honestly, it doesn't stop you playing it. It's Nintendo's typical. You don't need the microtransactions to play the game. So in that sense, you can enjoy it without them. The only other thing is anime front. I have just sat down and burned through all of the Junji Ito collection has just dropped on Netflix.
I don't know anything about that. What's that about?
Junji Ito is the manga artist who does the really messed up body horror stuff.
Okay.
And all his stories in this show, each episode is like it's like an anthology show. So each episode is 25 minutes long. There's 2 stories in an episode, and I think there's only one story that's connected to an existing one in the lot. So there's 12 episodes in total, so about 24 short stories, ranging from, hey, look, there's this really weird one where there's this family that has a curse where they're not aging, or they are, but how they're aging is that their insides are being replaced with layers like a tree.
Oh my god.
And then the mother becomes obsessed with wanting her 2-year-old daughter back. So while her other daughter's asleep, starts peeling the layers off of her daughter to get her young
Sounds
daughter back.
really like
It's
crazy.
and there's this
that
other
is
one.
funny,
There's this other really bizarre one. Where people are being killed by these weird balloons. That each balloon looks like somebody's face. And at the
I'm
bottom,
not going to be showing any of this footage because it's going to get me
no,
demonetized like that.
the strings on these balloons are nooses that are kind of swooping down and grabbing people by the head and hanging them.
My god, no.
And it's really weird. All of his stuff is really weird, and I think why I like his horror is not only that a lot of it is body horror, so it's really personal and invasive, but the other part of it as well, it taps into that horror of there not being any justice. A lot of the people who the things happen to in his stories, it's kind of like the punishment or the horror that they go through doesn't it vastly outweighs any sins that they might be guilty of.
Okay.
So it's really uncomfortable. Most horror tends to drag you in as an audience by kind of going, yeah, this awful thing's happening to this person, but it's because they've committed a sin, they're guilty, this is kind of a representation of their own guilt, and it's all a big metaphor for that. Whereas his horror is very much a case of, no, it's just mad shit that's happening, and yeah, deal with it. It's really good. If you like your horror and your weird stuff, some of them are actually a little bit funny as well. That's the weird thing. It's very much got that almost comic relief level in some of the stories of going, yeah, this one's horrific, but this one's actually a little bit chuckle worthy because it's so ridiculous.
That's mad. I think I'd have to be in the mood to watch something like that. I definitely would. So what have you been up to, Dante, over the last month?
What have I been up to?
Yeah.
Well, I lost a couple of days making this logo here and this nice frame we're sat in.
The logo that's going to be in the middle.
It's in the middle. It's going to be
in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where I'm going to be, so it's
right there.
It's one of
there.
these corners. We're all in a line as far as I'm concerned.
There
So
you go. Right there.
Control.
Control.
So yeah, hope people like the design. Check it
It's
out.
done a very good job with the
Tell us what you
design.
think.
Yep.
It was mostly Fish's suggestion for the name of the podcast, wasn't
Normandy
it?
Newsfeed, which the community voted on. It was like the clear winner with like 70% of the votes.
I'm glad I can have a valuable input in something.
I was like, what can I do with that? How can I? Well, yeah, I'll do that. Gaming wise, I'm late too on my backlog again. I've decided 2 Metroidvanias, Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition. So I finally got a lot of Mexican style wrestling with Metroidvania, daft, and Shantae and the 7 Sirens. It's surprising they've took that long, and I love that as well. Great games.
Yeah.
And of course I'm continuing on with Pokemon Scarlet, like you do. Oh no, Violet, sorry. And TV wise, we rinsed through Wednesday, didn't we?
Tons of stuff.
Show.
Yeah, we binge watched Wednesday.
Yeah,
Wednesday was delightful.
So good, and I'm so excited because obviously they've definitely greenlit. It was obvious they were going to do because it's pretty much become a cult classic, but they've greenlit season 2. So I really enjoyed it. It was like the casting was just.
She was spot on as well. Yeah, actually,
just
they all were.
Genius.
Yeah.
They all were, but like her portrayal of Wednesday was really interesting because it was very different to Christina Ricci's portrayal of her in the movie. Obviously,
I thought it was a brave choice to have Christina Ricci in the show as well.
Yes. I kind of appreciated that. I thought it was really good. And then obviously I was kind of surprised by because when I first heard the casting for Morticia and Gomez, I was like, oh, I don't know, but actually they're really good. And Catherine Zeta-Jones, she's got some acting chops, and she did a good Morticia, and even I forget the name of the guy they cast as
Louis
Gomez,
Guzman.
but
I actually think Louis Guzman
he's perfect.
Again, he's not Raul Julia, but he's closer to the source material Gomez, which is
Raul Julia he was too handsome.
Well, I wouldn't say he's too handsome, but he was certainly very suave and debonair.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Louis Guzman goes back to the almost. You look at the original Addams Family comics, and Gomez is quite a short, round, almost greasy, not conventionally attractive individual.
Yeah.
But it's his zest for life and his love for his family, which is what makes him a nice person.
Yeah. Wednesday was just fantastic.
And of course, we just started Last of Us now.
Yeah, episode 2.
Episode 2
the
now.
end of that episode left me slightly traumatized.
As did most of the internet.
Yes, but it's so good though. Honestly, just the bit with I don't want to spoil anything, but clickers are obviously going to be in it because they're from the games. Perfect, absolutely perfect. It's so faithful from the game.
It's all
there's some
good.
changes, but still pretty
but
faithful.
they still work.
But
I'm
the
looking forward to watching
cinematography,
it.
So good, amazing. Have you played Last of Us?
I played it. Yep, the first one. Didn't play the
Cool.
second, but
Didn't
played
play
the
second
first.
one.
Loved
Yeah,
it.
first one's amazing. I love the first one. This is gonna make me want to go back and play it, even though every time I've played The
stress you
Last
out
of
too
Us
much.
twice, and I've played Last of Us 2 Part 2 once. And it's so traumatic because I don't like horror. So for me to play that through twice is a good sign. It's a fantastic game. But yeah, the TV series, like the casting is actually perfect.
Yeah,
Like,
there was
is
there was
really good.
doubt to begin with, but then it's like, oh,
Yeah,
actually,
with
no, I'm doing a good job.
yeah, Pedro Pascal. But
Mando.
yeah, Mando. But he's a good actor. He's really good. He always seems to be good in these roles where he's got like he's looking after someone. Like whether it's a little like 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 Grogu,
Whether it's a
or
puppet,
it's
whether it's a
puppet, or it's a
girl,
little
whether it's
girl.
Peter Dinklage.
Exactly. He always seems to be caring for little people. But I'm sure Ellie would have things to say about that. But yeah, the casting, like the who's playing Ellie, like she's so good. It's very obvious that they've because I know the voice actors got involved, and I think they also have a cameo part in it too, that played them in the games. But I know that they spent a lot of time going through the characters, and it really does show. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I'm excited to. There's just bits I know that are going to come up, and I'm just excited to see them, like realized in real life, but not real life. So yeah, it'll be good. Can't wait for it. So fantastic. So that pretty much wraps up our What's New section of the podcast. So next, let's move on to the main part, our main feature.
Spit it out, or are you trying to build suspense?
This part of the podcast is where we will talk about a gaming news topic or something we want to discuss today. And given what's been happening in the last month, I thought it would be worth talking about Ubisoft and how Ubisoft seems to be managing itself into bankruptcy with the looks of the way things are going.
So,
yeah, well, unfortunately, a lot of the gaming news is often quite negative. So get used to it because it's here to stay. But yeah, so I'll go through obviously what we've learned obviously in the last month. I did send you guys the news articles to read, and then we'll just have a chat about it and what your take is on it and what your thoughts
That's right,
are
folks.
on Ubisoft.
Dante and I have got homework.
Homework, yes. Research. I sent you research before the podcast. So
my dog ate it.
It's like being in debate society all over again.
So yes, Ubisoft are having a really, really bad time at the moment. Well, they have been, to be fair, for the last several years. They've been really, really struggling. And yeah, a recent announcement to investors from the heads at Ubisoft basically confirmed that they'd cancelled 3 more titles that were in the works. This actually brings it to a total of 7 different video games that have been cancelled within the last 6 months. So some of them are things I wasn't really interested in. I think one of them was like a VR Splinter Cell game or something. A lot of them probably
ruined it.
Yes.
But you see, that oddly enough, I hadn't heard of until they cancelled it.
Yeah.
And I went,
Yeah,
actually, that could have been really good.
Could have been good. They also announced, obviously, that Skull and Bones is delayed yet again. I think it's like the 9th time, I think, that this game has now been delayed. And it's now going to be delayed into the next fiscal year, which basically begins in April and runs through to March 2024. That game is going to be dead on arrival. I'm calling it right
well,
now.
Released on fire.
Let's be honest, puns intended. The time for pirate games, you know, Sea of Thieves has been and gone. That ship has indeed sailed.
Yeah.
It's sailed, been attacked by a kraken, got its treasure, swum back to shore, on another boat. That one sank.
But that's the thing. There aren't even any cool things like krakens in the game. Like, I've seen gameplay of it. It looks so boring. How do you make a pirate game look boring? I mean, you can't even get off your ship. You can't board enemy ships. There's no boarding mechanic in a pirate game. I think you actually send your teammates to go and do it. Like, it comes up with the instructions. You go and loot that
Even
that
Faster Than Light had a boarding mechanic, and
Right.
that's tablet game.
So,
Granted, it's set in
so bad.
space, but you can teleport yourself onto the enemy ship.
Yeah, so I think the fact that they've announced that it's been delayed is no big surprise. I can't see anyone except for hardcore Ubisoft fans actually picking this up and playing it. And of course, there's still Beyond Good and
Good and Evil.
Good and Evil, thank you. Beyond Good and Evil 2. That game has been in development. I think it's just actually won an award for the longest in development. I think it beat Duke Nukem, was it?
Duke Nukem.
Yeah. And now it's
It's beaten Duke Nukem.
yeah over
Jesus
a
Christ.
decade
Hit the Guinness
in
World Record already.
development. I think the last time we saw some actual stuff for it was back in 2018, 2019. I don't
That's
even remember.
not an award you want to win.
It is.
Mind you, surely Half-Life 3's got to be up on that, or is the reason that's not in the running because we've written.
We had the
By
VR,
now.
didn't we? Technically, that was Half-Life 3. And apparently it was really good though, the VR one. So yeah, if apparently they are still working on it, but it's still in pre-production. So I don't know. I don't see that coming out anytime soon. And then obviously, I think the only other two that I definitely know they've got coming up, they're planning to release this year, is the new Avatar game, which I've got no interest in.
They've got 2 Avatar games. They've got one for
yeah.
the mobile as well.
I did hear about that.
Not just one, but 2 Avatar games are coming out.
Yeah, but the thing is, they should have brought them out when the movie came out to feed,
Again,
maybe it's the
they've
next
missed
movie.
the boat on
Missed
that
the
one.
boat.
That's...
Maybe it'll come out with the 5th movie. Maybe it'll come out with the 5th movie in
At this
15
rate,
years' time.
At this rate, that's what's looking most likely.
Just absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah.
Release a PS3 game or something now.
Yeah, so just stupid. And then obviously the only one that I'm actually semi-interested in is the new Assassin's Creed Mirage, because apparently it's going back to more traditional Assassin's Creed, which is, actually focusing on assassinations and being a much more linear story and less huge and open world like
When I
previous
did read
installments
that
have
bit,
been.
because having only dabbled in the first Assassin's when I did read the article and it said, hey, Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is going to a stealth format, I was like, you're an assassin. Shouldn't the game always have been a stealth format?
No, unfortunately, in the last I know, in the last few iterations they went away from that, didn't they? More towards the RPG side of things and the more action focus and games as a service kind of thing.
This is like Naruto being a
awful.
bright orange ninja,
Yeah. It's in the name.
Stealth?
It's in the name, for Christ's sake. So yeah, obviously, we've got that coming. The reasons for these cancellations, they said that they were disappointed. Apparently, the sales this winter, the period, weren't really what they were hoping they were going to be. Apparently, Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope underperformed, which is a massive shame, because obviously it was a really, really good game. It was actually a really good sequel. Nintendo did a very good job at promoting it, but Ubisoft did a piss poor job at promoting it, in my opinion. Nothing was coming from Ubisoft about that game, whereas Nintendo did do a good job of promoting it, but obviously not enough, according to Ubisoft. And then obviously Just Dance 52, because there's been that many of them, that underperformed as well. And no, I don't care, honestly.
Wait, was it really 52?
I know, and I'm being sarcastic. It was just times 22 or something
73.
like that. Yeah, so apparently that's one of the reasons that they're cutting costs basically and predicting a drop in sales, and profits for the coming year to their investors. So that happened, and then, to make things worse, basically, the CEO of Ubisoft, Yves, I can never say this guy's name, Yves Guillemot, I butchered that probably, sent an email. That's never a good idea, coming from a CEO, from a top boss. He sent an email to his staff, basically putting the onus on them and kind of basically shifting the blame for the awful performance and results of Ubisoft onto the staff. And this is basically what he said in his email, just absolutely awful. So he basically said, today, more than ever, I need your full energy and commitment to ensure we get back on the path to success. He wrote, I am also asking that each of you be especially careful and strategic with your spending and initiatives to ensure we're being as efficient and lean as possible. Guillemot also urged staff to deliver on what he called the biggest pipeline in Ubisoft history. I doubt it. Writing, the ball is in your court to deliver this lineup on time and at the expected level of quality and show everyone what we are capable of achieving.
I'm just going to say it outright now. I wholeheartedly protecting his own back for the shareholders and throwing everyone as employees bus.
Yeah.
Given Ubisoft's already terrible track record of not just ignoring but trying to hide sexual assault cases in the workplace,
And bullying and harassment.
bullying, harassment. I'm just throwing it out there. I just don't think Ubisoft's got a healthy workplace environment ethics. It's a very, very abusive workplace environment, and I think this is just further proof of that. I would go as far as to say that the reasons behind Ubisoft being in the state that they are in right now is because their management, one, is refusing to do anything about any of the problems that they see and are sticking their head in the sand about it. Two, moving the goalposts all the time, not committing to anything that they start, and deciding this isn't going to work, let's bin it. This isn't going to work, let's bin it.
Yep.
Never seeing anything through to the end. And three, as you said, the stuff that they do put out there doesn't actually have their full support. They're just ticking boxes. They're going, let's get it out, let's get it out, let's get it out. And if anyone is to blame for this situation, it is certainly not their employees. It's their it's not their ground staff. It's their management. Their management has no idea what they are doing.
Yeah, I feel
absolutely couldn't be any clearer in my opinion.
I feel so bad for the staff that have, you know, clearly they will have crunched on these games. They will have worked extra hours overtime. They will have sacrificed things in their personal life, I'm sure, to work on these games to do a good job, and to just get thrown, literally, like just thrown under the bus like that, and none of the blame, like the management. Well, you know, it's not only
they're
Ubisoft,
not accepting anything.
They're not accepting any responsibility. A lot of the games that have been such poor level of quality and it's because there's no vision. There's no imagination. It's poor management. And I think Ubisoft has been kind of, in a way, destroyed itself, because Ubisoft became known as, like, you know, they were the first ones really to kind of pioneer that open world exploration and the way in which, you know, they designed open worlds, and it really became something that they were kind of respected for, but they never really grew from that.
They've recycled their format far too many times.
Yeah,
become stale.
Every Ubisoft game, it doesn't matter what franchise it is, Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, it all feels the same.
I did read in an article as well that one of the big criticisms of staff internally for what they want to develop, they are trying to capture the lightning in the bottle again of a Fortnite-like-esque game, a free-to-play model where you don't have, you know, multiple installments. You just have one game, which you have constant season updates for. The game itself is kind of, you know, you wouldn't have Assassin's Creed, you have Valhalla, and then Black Flag, and all these other installments. You would just have Assassin's Creed, and you'd get a patch every couple of years or every couple of months with, this is what we're doing this time, this is what the new goal is this time. They want to capture that, and by the sounds of it, they're desperate to try and emulate that, and they just have no idea what they're doing. And as a result, the people who are being told to build and design and produce these games aren't getting clear instructions. They're just going, that thing that they did, do it again, but put our stamp on it. I was like, yeah, but what do you want? You know, what do you want that to be? And they're just like, I don't know. Yeah, just, we want it to be money. All right, cool, thanks for that. It needs some leadership, and Ubisoft at the moment clearly have no solid leadership.
Yeah, they really do need a not to sound like, you know, horrible everyone, but they burn it all down, rebuild it up.
Once again,
quite
shall we
literally.
take a reference to the legend that was Satoru Iwata? When
Mm.
Nintendo were falling on hard times, did he blame the staff? No,
No,
he
he took a
turned
pay
around and
cut.
said, "Yeah, he said, me and all the other CEOs are going to take like a 50% pay cut
You know,
so that we don't have to lay staff off."
Mm.
Can you see the guys at Ubisoft currently doing that at the
no,
moment?
I can't
No.
see. I can't see Eve Gilmot doing that. I mean, basically, the response to this email obviously has been, as you can imagine, it's been taken quite wrong, as it should be, and so much in fact that actually Ubisoft Paris, one of the branches, is striking. So they've actually decided to take strike action, which they're actually planning to take on Friday, this Friday. So yeah, one of
Wasn't it
the main
like a
unions.
really short one?
Yeah. One of the main
Which
unions.
surprises me because not wanting to get into it, I mean, if there's
Like,
the
take the
one
full day off,
thing,
man.
if there's the Ubisoft's a French developing studio, one thing the French do well is they strike well.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah,
They
you would
strike and they
expect that.
protest
Yeah,
really well.
I
I'd
mean,
expect better than a short protest from them.
Remember the French Revolution? But yeah, so there's a union called Union Solidaris Informatique, which it has members from Ubisoft Paris, and they basically released an official statement, to explain as to why they're going on strike. So they capital letters. The ball is in our court, but the money stays in his pocket. In his latest statement, Mr. Gilmont announces a worrying future for Ubisoft. If the request to employees to be especially careful and strategic with your spending is ironic, considering the company's editorial strategy of the last few years, it is not funny. When Mr. Gilmont speaks of attrition and organizational adjustments, it means staff reductions, discrete studio closures, salary cuts, disguised layoffs. On several occasions, Mr. Gilmont is trying to shift the blame once again onto the employees. He expects us to be mobilized, to give it our all, to be as efficient and lean as possible. These words mean something. Overtime, managerial pressure, burnout. Mr. Gilmore asks a lot from his employees, but without any compensation. Have salaries kept up with the high inflation of recent years? What about the implementation of the 4-day week? What has been put in place for the teams that come out of the productions exhausted, like those of Just Dance or Mario? We demand an immediate 10% increase for all salaries, regardless of annual increases. Yeah, so on and so on. The improvement of working conditions, within particular the implementation of the 4-day week, transparency on the evolution of the workforce, both locally and globally, a strong commitment against disguised dismissals, and a condemnation of abusive managerial policies that push employees to resign. And because Mr. Gilman and his clique only understand the relationship of power, Solidaris Informatique is calling on the employees of Ubisoft Paris to go on strike on February 27th in the afternoon from 2 to 6 p.m.
And I think the only statement that can really be followed up with that is a question posed to Eve himself. If you listen to this, the question is, do you hear the people sing?
The people sing. I know, right?
They're coming for you, Eve. They're coming for
you, Eve. They should have come for you 5 years ago. Seriously, I'm surprised that they haven't striked before now. I'm really surprised that they haven't, given all of the abusive, everything that's been going on at Ubisoft. I do think the strike action needs to be. I can understand maybe they obviously probably won't get paid to when they strike. So for some people in the current cost of living, that may well be a factor as to why they've only decided to strike for the 4 hours. But the only way to get any change is to hit them where it hurts, which is their profit margins.
It's Ubisoft at the moment. I think their counter argument would be, what profit margins?
They don't have any. Exactly. So yeah, the future for Ubisoft, guys, is not looking good, which makes me sad in a way, because way back in the day, it was one of the developers I actually really respected, like the original Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, fantastic games, right? And it just seems to be
the
now,
worst case scenario, they go broke and somebody buys up those
heartless.
licenses and does a better job with it.
Yeah, it's so corporate now, and every game just that Ubisoft stamp, but every game is the same. It's such a lack of imagination. It just makes me very, very sad for the people that work there and spend years of their lives working on stuff that they might be passionate about it, but I don't know. I can't say how they feel, but yeah, that work environment cannot be good. So so watch this space, guys, because we'll have to see what happens after the strike and where things go with Ubisoft. I can't see us getting an apology from Eve. Can you?
No. They
No.
better not blame Sparks of Hopes. That was an awesome game.
Yes. Is there anything else that you guys want to add to it, or no?
Other than, guys, I hope the strike goes well.
Yes, I hope the strike goes well, guys, and you get what you rightly deserve, and you get the respect and treatment that you deserve from the management at Ubisoft. Absolutely, 100% behind the staff at Ubisoft. So, okay, that wraps up our main feature of the podcast. So we're going to move into our third part of the podcast, which is questions from the community.
Message coming in. Patching it through.
This is the questions that you want to know the answer.
Yes. So I've picked questions from the community, and I thought what we could do is I'll read out the question, and we could, if we want to, we can take turns answering them and give our thoughts on it. Okay. Thank you to everybody, obviously, who did ask these questions, guys. Really appreciate it. If you do want any questions answered, it's really probably best to put them here in these podcast videos, and we'll try and answer those in future podcasts as well, because we're planning to do this every month. So let's kick off with the first question. This is from Captain Obvious, okay? And he asks, if you could work for any game studio, which one would you want to work for and why? So who wants to answer that first?
I'll go first. So given the everything around me, no surprise to everyone say Nintendo. I just absolutely everything that has really been super interesting in the gaming world for me has been delivered by Nintendo. Even their flops that they deliver are done out of just that madcap desire to push the boundaries of innovation. The Virtual Boy, yeah, all right, it was an absolute disaster, but that was basically a VR-like headset close to 25 years ago compared to, we're now getting the Oculus, the Meta Quest. But, VR has only really started taking off in 5 years. Nintendo were ship a good decade and a half before everyone else. You've then got things like, again, the Wii U was a flop, but look at it, you can't say that wasn't the prototype for the Switch, which is now absolutely storming away. Nintendo cannot produce them fast enough. I would just love to, even if I wasn't working for them, just be a fly on the wall on the creativity meetings, these people who sit there and think about these things long before we, the consumer masses, will see the finished product. I want to see all these drafts and concepts that bubble away before they even get to us. I mean, these are the stuff we see. Can you imagine the stuff that we don't?
Yeah. All the
there was an addition for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Yeah, the classic NES. Do you know what it did? It was a knitting machine. You fed in designs to it in the NES. Then you connected it to your NES and you put wool in it and it would knit you stuff. What the hell? It wasn't successful. And 5 people had one. But who in their right mind went, you know what this games console needs? A knitting machine.
Osaka and Obachan out there really wanted that and filled in some kind of survey or something.
Just, I would love to be a fly on the wall. Company and their creativity.
I'd love to see Nintendo, Xbox, Microsoft a few years ago did, or even a year or two ago, did that really good documentary where they kind of went through the birth of the Xbox 360 and then the flop of the Xbox One. I'd love Nintendo to do something like that, kind of behind the scenes.
Netflix get on it.
Yeah,
I think the only thing that would have to be on the radar if you're working at Nintendo and you're designing a new IP
Yes,
is keeping an eye out for Miyamoto walking down the hallway, because you know that if that IP is interesting enough, the first thing he's going to do is stick his head around the door and go, "You know what this game needs? Needs more Star Fox," and then he'll just walk off. It's like, this game needs Star Fox, make it happen. It's like, but it was going to be a game about dinosaurs. Yeah, well, now it's got Star Fox in it. Have fun with that.
So Dante, if you could pick
Oh.
any game studio to work for, who would you want to work for?
My quick answer was pretty similar, like, because like the likes of Splatoon and the Mario series and all this and that, and like,
Yeah.
come on, like the 3DS, that was genius as well, because like
Mm.
it's like no glasses required. But secrets revealed, little Dante, when he was small, he wanted to work for SquareSoft, which of course is Square Enix
Really?
these days.
All right.
Yeah, because I think it was mostly because I was heavily playing into like Secret of Evermore and Secret of Mana,
Mm-hmm.
those kind of like RPGs that are kind of Zelda like, real time,
Yeah.
like role playing and all that. And it's like, oh, and I would spend hours just like drawing my own little video game manuals and maps and characters and all this and that, and go even like, yeah, draw out the SNES pad and put, right, this button's gonna do that. It's gonna do that.
That's cool.
I was like, oh, I so want to work for Squaresoft. They're amazing, and they keep bringing out all these awesome games.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was generally me at the time. They're in a bit of shenanigans at the moment, though, aren't they? Of course, but
Yeah, they're dropping the ball as Square at the
Oh.
moment. Most recently with Forspoken, because that's not getting good reviews at the moment.
And
It's
they're
getting
Dropping the
rather
ball because their hands are
mediocre.
full of NFTs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put the
Which
NFTs
they're
down, you'll be able
still-
to catch something then.
Honestly, I do not understand why they are
like,
still
what we turn into.
like flogging that dead horse. I don't.
Everyone else has
understand it at
given up
all.
on it.
It's like everyone else has like just dropped it like a hot potato. And like, no, let's not do that. And like Square, like, yay, NFTs, but no.
Your hands are starting to blister. You might want to let go.
You might want to
Yeah.
let go. Yeah, you're on fire. You might want to let go. Duck and
So,
roll.
Yeah, they definitely got some hit and misses
yeah.
here and there, but like,
Yeah,
the
just
fi-
weird stuff.
the Final
yeah.
Fantasy VII remake stuff.
I know.
love
How
that.
do you
It's
make
like,
such
oh, it's so glorious. and then-
mediocre shit like they've made, but then make something
then-
that amazing? It's so like crazy. That's down to the teams.
like the
I guess,
Chocobo
working on
racing
it.
thing, that was like microtransaction hell, wasn't
Awful,
it? It's
yeah.
like, what are you doing, guys?
Absolutely awful. Yeah, yeah.
But I bet
It's,
that's management again. It's like they're
yeah,
not
it's yeah, it will
making
be.
it for fun. They're
No.
making it to keep them happy.
Yeah, it's corporate. So anything where decisions are made simply to please investors as opposed to focusing on your consumer base is always a mistake.
But then it doesn't help.
Right,
that the
and
consumers
that's
have been
where
just
you get
stupid
those.
and falling for it all the time.
I
but-
know. It doesn't help matters at
That's
all.
a story for another podcast.
Yes, yeah, that's another one. So for me, like I was thinking about this question. I'm like, if you had asked me 10 years ago, right, my answer would have been
Oh,
so
easy.
easy. It would have been BioWare. I would have given if BioWare turned around to me and says, "We want you to work on the next Mass Effect or whatever," I'd be like, "I am there. I will hand in my notice like tomorrow." Like I would have been there straight away. Now, for me, BioWare for me, it's not the same BioWare as old. Like so many of the older kind of old blood is gone. Most recent Anthem just broke my heart, basically, and it doesn't seem like a good company to work for. I'm sad to say it, but the most recent report from Jason Schreier and mismanagement and crunch and everything going on, it just doesn't seem like a place I'd want to work. Then I would have said 5 years ago, CD Projekt Red. And then, God
I'm
damn it,
noticing
it's
a
like
theme here.
I fall in love with these studios because they make amazing RPGs, and I fall in love with the worlds, and I'm like, I want to make the next Witcher game. And then they bring out Cyberpunk 2077, and all the crunch going on, and all the deep dive reports on that, and I'm like, no, I don't want to work for them. So if I had to work probably for a studio, I would say at the moment,
Don't say
for
one I
me-
like.
Don't say one you like. What? Because I'll
Yeah, you'll
destroy
jinx
it.
it.
Yeah, because you'll jinx it now. Given what you've just said, don't say one I like.
Well, it happens, every time I've gone and lived in a foreign country, there has been a disaster. Like when I lived in America on a study abroad, there was like 9/11, right? That happened when I was there. And then when I lived in Japan, the earthquake hit
That's
Tohoku
like between the
earthquake.
two
and
of us. You cause
I'm
natural
doomed.
disasters. I do
a
celebrity
curse.
deaths.
I'm a curse wherever I go. So yeah,
That's it.
nobody come on holiday with me. I wouldn't.
Okay.
It's dangerous.
So between
Very
the two of
dangerous.
us, you it's natural disasters, me it's
Yeah.
deaths. Yeah, Fay Ray, the day I went up the Empire State Building, St. Peter's Square, the Pope died. You know.
It's just
Oh, and when we
mental.
combo together, we get nuclear reactors melting down.
Just absolutely ridiculous. So yes, no, I don't love any development studios. No, don't have a favorite at all.
Go on, what were you going to say?
But what I would say probably is, at the moment, I think that any of the development studios that are working under Sony's umbrella are making some great quality games and some really. I'm all about story, right, and character-driven games and single-player experiences. That is where my passion is. That I love it. So for me, like, you know, you've got so many great passionate studios, Sucker Punch Productions, Naughty Dog, Guerrilla Games. They're making fantastic worlds like Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us, Uncharted, which, you know, I'm a big history buff, so I love that. Even Horizon, the world is gorgeous. Yes, it's absolutely friggin' massive and huge and exhausting to like travel around, but it's gorgeous and it's interesting and it's fascinating, and it's, you know, even like the latest God of War, you know, God of War and God of War Ragnarok, it is really obvious when you're playing it just how much heart and passion goes into these projects. And I would love to be involved in any of those studios. If I was honest, I'd love to work on the next Ghost of Tsushima game. I want to be a history consultant because obviously I come from a history background and I studied, including Japanese history. So I would, oh my God, it would be amazing if I could go on board as like a consultant or something, or like a law checker. You know, like where I just check everything, make sure the writing's right and everything matches. I'd be good at that, I think. I think I'd be good at that. So anything like that, where I'm like just checking all the facts and the story and making sure it fits right and stuff like that. But that's wrong. In paragraph 22 of section 3, I think you'll find. You know,
They were blue hats.
they were
not
blue
red.
hats. Exactly. Asari blood is this color. So yeah, if I had to, that's probably I'd like to work for studios like that, probably. Because it just seems that like Sony do what Nintendo does with their own projects. They leave them alone, let them do their job, give them as much time as they need. Yeah. Right, and that's why I really respect Sony as a publisher, because it does do that with its development studios. It doesn't rush them and say we need this out by XYZ date, you know, and it'll delay things if it needs to. And I don't think I've ever played a Sony game where it came out and its performance was shocking. I think every game I've played, Horizon, Spider-Man, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, these games, performance, artistic direction, designs, they're fantastic. I don't think I've ever played a game where the performance and the bugs and the glitches were awful. I'm trying to think. I'm like, I don't think I have, which is an achievement in itself. It's not something you should be like, well done guys for not having bugs in your game, but like, you know, it shouldn't have them in it anyway. But I still think it's a good sign that they give them time to make sure those games come out right. So yeah, I'd want to work for one of those studios probably.
Do you think if one of us can work for Way Forward, we can get hold of Advance Wars?
That's never gonna happen. That's in like some. I hope
Don't
so.
tease.
Don't. It's too. Don't do it, Dante. Why traumatize yourself like that? Don't do it, Dante. It'll come out eventually, hopefully. I hope it comes out this year for you guys. I really do. So let's move on to the second question. Yeah. That was a great question, by the way, Captain Obvious. Thank you so much for that question. I hope you found our answers interesting. So the second question we have is from Matt X Nexus, okay, and he says, are there any games you consider divisive that you really enjoyed or found that it struck you in particular when it seemed to not do so for the group or circles you converse in? So a game you really enjoyed or really didn't enjoy, which was different to other people. We'll change that a little bit. Fish, you want to go first?
Yeah, I would say I can't think of a game that I really enjoyed that others didn't. I think a lot of the ones that I like tend to be relatively liked by a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not that much of a hipster, But when it comes to being, if you were to put me categorized for anyone, I can definitely think of a game that I didn't like that everybody else seemed to love, and for me that was simply Persona 5. I just couldn't get into it. It seemed to gatekeep itself for new people. The only time I've ever had a game do anything similar, and even then this was a fraction compared to Persona 5, was Final Fantasy Tactics on the GBA, where it was like a solid hour before you got to a save point.
It was
I
so
think
long.
I played Persona 5 for 2.5 to 3 hours, and I still didn't come across my first save point. And I had to eventually put it down because, I've got a life to lead. I've got places to, go to and things to do. And it's like, well, I'm going to have to turn my PlayStation off now. And guess I'm going to have to replay that 3 hours all over because I didn't get to a save point. And that is just really bad. And it set it up for a game that was just going to be just not enjoyable for me. And yet, absolutely everybody seems to think it's like amazing.
Yeah,
present company included.
yeah,
And
it's one of my
cheese on
favorite
toast,
do
man.
it
It's
for me.
cheese on
To be
toast.
fair, it's my cheese on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think for me, it was my first Persona game I ever actually played and beat. It took me ages to beat it because it was massive, but I think I love the art. It's so stylish, I guess, and I just really enjoyed it. And the characters are fab. I mean, obviously, maybe you didn't get far enough to see any of
possibly.
that.
Let it be said that I am not saying that Persona 5 is a bad game. I'm saying it didn't do it for me. It didn't.
How far
grip
did you
me.
get then? Did you get past the first like dungeon, like
Yeah,
the first kind of king? Was
but
it
there was
the
palace?
palace?
It just the entire game just felt like effort. Everything I was playing, it was just like, there are more entertaining games that I've got in my catalogue that I want to play at the moment. This is not something I am prepared to put this much effort and this much time into.
Yeah,
Because
it is a commitment of a game.
It didn't do
Yeah.
it for me.
It's-
Something just
yeah.
didn't draw me in.
Yeah.
And it reminded me almost again of that Final Fantasy 14 thing of, oh, it gets good after you put 100 hours into it. It's like, yeah, but I shouldn't have to put 100 hours into a game for it to start getting good.
Yeah.
I want a game that is going to grip me immediately, like off the bat, first half an hour, and go, well, shit, now I want to keep playing. Not a game that feels like a chore in the initial opening of the game.
Yeah, I think Persona 5 is not a game that you can jump in and out of. It's not a game that you can
No.
like play for an hour. It is like, if you're going to sit down, you have to commit to sit down for a length of time. And then as you play through more of it, then you just want to do that because obviously the story and everything else. But yeah, I get it. Like, that would be frustrating. Like if you had to stop playing and you lost all your progress and had to start again. I could see why that would be frustrating. Dante, any picks for you on this one?
No, I've been trying to think of any, and I just can't come
that's
up
fine.
with any that are generally. If I flip it round like that, it would be like Fortnite.
Yeah.
Not interested.
Yeah, that's definitely one for a lot of us, isn't it? Really, not really interested in the Fortnite. To be fair, I don't really like Battle Royale. I'm not really a big fan of Battle Royale as a game. Again, it's not aimed at me, right? It's not my kind of game. I'm a single player gamer, right? So it's never gonna be aimed at me. But yeah,
You're not an 8-year-old boy.
exactly. With his parents' credit card. No. So for me, I guess like if I was to think about games that I liked that were quite divisive and I think were given a hard time, it's not that people hated these games with a passion. I just feel that perhaps they were given a little bit of an unfair rap at the time, and probably the two I would have to say for that is Mass Effect Andromeda, and also Cyberpunk 2077, both of which are actually fabulous games. Mass Effect Andromeda was a fantastic game. I enjoyed it. Okay. it's one story. It's impossible. How can you compare it to a trilogy where you have a story and characters
that was
told
the main
over
problem,
three
wasn't it?
games? So I feel that a lot of people went exactly, and I feel that a lot of people went into Mass Effect Andromeda with preconceived ideas already.
They expected it to live up to its predecessors, which it was never.
It was never going to do. It was like an impossible job. The gameplay was fabulous. Like the improvement with movement and like the jetpack and the verticality of the level designs, and that being a little bit more freer with your powers and being able to switch. Just
Yeah, it was
there was
brilliant.
so much freedom, and there was so much that was really great with it. Of course, yeah, it had performance issues. It did. I mean, my face is tired. That meme went around for ages. And yeah, you're right. It should have come out. It didn't look as good even compared to a game that was like many years older than it. And that's because they were on the Frostbite engine. They were using a different engine. The trilogy used Unreal.
That's management again.
Again, that's
them
management
to cut
forcing
corners
them
and save money.
Exactly, that's EA management forcing them to use the same engine as designed
like,
by
well, you've
DICE,
ruined
I
this
think,
one.
right?
Yeah.
By the Battlefront crew, Battlefield crew. Sorry. So like I just feel that it got a really harsh treatment, like that it didn't deserve, and the people that worked on that game didn't deserve it. They spent years working on it, and they create like the Andromeda Galaxy. Some of the new races were really cool. There was so much potential there, and then because of the way in which it was treated, then like there was planned DLC for the Quarian arc, and that got dropped again. EA management going, that's it, we're totally cutting any development on this game and we're going to move on to Anthem and games as a service, which didn't go
wasn't
well.
that effort well spent?
Wasn't that well spent? So that's probably one that I feel was very derisive and was harshly treated. The same way I feel that a lot of what Cyberpunk had to offer was overshadowed by other issues. Obviously, I've gone through this in detail in my review, and I do think if you played it on PS4 and Xbox One, it really wasn't right. It should never have been released on last gen consoles. No. I think it should have been a next gen game only, and I think management should have made that call. They should have made that call. But the world, Night City is so good, and like it's just the characters and the stories really cool, and like I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as The Witcher, don't get me wrong. The Witcher is a whole different thing. That's a whole different level, right? And again, it's the same thing with Cyberpunk was compared again to The Witcher 3. And people forget that when The Witcher 3 came out, it came out a buggy mess. It came out with issues.
A lot of people came late to it.
A lot of people came late to that game, so they missed all of that. And then the game was perfected, and it was improved, and then it became an absolute masterpiece, right? But again, it's that whole idea of comparing the writing, and it's a completely different setting, and it was first person as well, not third person. It's totally different. So, and again, it's that kind of like being unable to live up to the expectations of fans, because they have preconceived ideas. So those two probably were games that I actually really enjoyed. I did a full Let's Play on both of them, right? I would not have spent the time doing that if I didn't enjoy the game, right? Yeah. And I loved both of them. And I just feel like they got treated really unfairly.
Maybe I'll just share your answers then, because that's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Although Last of Us Part 2 as well.
Oh, yeah.
I was fine with it. I was absolutely fine. And my entire feed was just flaming it to hell.
So much visceral hate.
And I'm like,
I know,
dude, it's fine. It's their story direction. Just let them do their thing.
Yeah, it's their game. It
sucks
it's
because
their
you attack characters, but
yeah,
but this is the way it's going. It's good. It's a good game.
I agree
it's
with
stressy
you.
as hell, but
it is, but it's meant to be, like, because of the way it's told. Actually, if you play it back through a second time, you actually like, because I started playing it again. And then stopped because other things. But I was like, oh man, you start to appreciate things a little bit more, because you notice more things and you see more things. And it's settled with you. The story is settled with you, and the themes behind it have settled. So you start to notice things more.
And again, it's down to the player because my mindset was from that fresh. It's like I'm the type of person that can just analyze it and go, okay, yep.
Yeah.
Whereas more emotional
I
people
think
might
in the time, I'm not going to go and spoil anything because people
No,
obviously
no.
should play it themselves. But I think in the moment I did react viscerally, like anybody would have done, and I have that captured on camera. But I've definitely, you should have seen my reaction. But over time, on reflecting on it and thinking back on it, I actually did 2 reviews on it. I did the first one, which was my initial gut reaction just to the story, which was like a spoiler reaction and breaking down into things. And then I actually took a bit of time and then reflected and then did a spoiler free, like scripted reaction to it. So I have 2 very different styles of reviews on The Last of Us because I felt like it deserved that. And I wanted to sort of bring out those more emotional reaction and then the more logical like analytical reaction. And I think sometimes people react too much with their gut and their emotions, and sometimes you just step back and look at something objectively as a piece of art, as a storytelling or whatever. And it might be something you disagree with, that's fine, but it doesn't make it crap just because it doesn't conform to your views.
Threatening the voice actors.
No. Oh, that
idiots.
was... Laura Bailey did not deserve that because she is such a lovely person. If you ever see her interviewed, she is so professional, so nice, and she did not deserve that at all. Yes, so those were my picks on that. So the last question then for the questions from the community. This is from Charlie Styles, and the question is, what is your New Year's resolution? Seems like a very suitable question for January 2023. Fish?
I'm going to be I'm going to start looking after myself. It's going to be self-care, but not in the case of going to the... Because let's be honest, I'm not a gym person. But it is very much going to be... I'm going to try and be a bit more impulsive this year. I'm going to look after my mental health. I'm going to try and stay on the positive frame of mind side of things. And certainly spend more time in good company.
Awesome. I look forward to it. Dante, your New Year's resolution?
No.
You
I'm still not over 2020. I don't generally bother. Well, I like Fish's answer, so I might just steal that.
Okay. You're gonna keep Danteing on. Okay.
Take care of yourself.
So yes, it's important.
Yeah,
Sleep more. Sleep more.
I really should.
You really should. You really should.
Yeah. Instead of no digital screens an hour before bed. So you
get
can
a sleep app. Get some nice
no,
headphones.
No Pokemon Violet in bed, Dante. That's your New Year's resolution.
I've got to hatch Exile.
No, do it during daytime. Do it while you're in between working from home and you're waiting for spreadsheets to do it then. As you're waiting for your spreadsheets to do their formulas or whatever.
You heard it, internet. Kate says I can Skype work.
I told you, I ain't taking responsibility for that one. No way. So obviously I've got both personal and channel related New Year's resolutions, of course, right? So New Year's resolutions, personally speaking, for me personally, I want to make more time this year for other hobbies. So sometimes obviously doing content creation and being a gamer, it kind of takes over your life, right? And sometimes,
She disappears for days.
I know, all I do is make content or whatever. So I love doing other things. Like I love painting. I'm actually quite a creative person. I absolutely love painting. I love reading. I used to read so many books. Years ago, I have all these books that need reading that I haven't read. Paper books.
I'll lend you Incompetence. You can read this.
Nice. I wouldn't mind reading that actually. So I want to read more, and then yes, again, being healthy. I want to go do more walking. We live in a beautiful place, and I want to go and do more walking and more fresh air, more exercise, get out of the house, get away from my desk.
I've just bought some new walking boots. I'll take you to Malham.
Nice. That sounds nice. So yes, that's definitely something that I am wanting to do. That's definitely one of my New Year's resolutions, personally speaking. Channel-wise, of course, I have a lot of plans and New Year's resolutions. I always start the year by yeah, okay. I always start the year by planning what I'd like to do. Whether or not it happens, we will see. Some of my New Year's resolutions for the channel going forward is I want to do more collaborations, either with you guys and do more multiplayer collaborations and co-streams and that kind of thing, or other content creators as well. And I've already actually made a start on that, which is great. So this Saturday I did a collaborative stream with Tim from Ploppy54 Gaming. We did a Mass Effect 3 multiplayer stream. It was awesome. We shared a chat. We had people in both chats and they had both our screens open. It was really good. And I've started playing and gaming with Mother Mantis, who's obviously big RPG, big Mass Effect fan as well. So I started playing Destiny 2 with her, and we're planning collaborations and things in the future. And I want to do more collaborations with other content creators. It'd be great to do like a Mass Effect special podcast when we find out about the next Mass Effect, or we get more information, or we speculate on it. Maybe I can get Carla, Elizabeth on here, Mr. Hulton, and Big Dad Game. We'll see. But it would be awesome. It would be awesome to do that. The other thing is I'm wanting to make more lore content. I really enjoy making it. I really enjoy research. I enjoy the research aspect of it. As I say, I come from a history background, so it's what I'm trained in. It's what I'm passionate about. I love researching something. I love writing a script. I love putting that together in in a format that people can follow and teaching people about things. So I'd like to make more lore content. So what I've decided is to try and rotate content each month. So one month I might do a review, another month I might do a lore video, and try and balance that a little bit better, because lore videos, they take a lot of work. I don't think people appreciate how much work goes into them, and how long it takes to make it. So I'd like to do that, because obviously that's something I'm quite passionate about. I want to be more organized, always. I want to be more selective in what I choose.
The fact
to
that
play.
Dante and I laugh at that.
I know. It's a resolution. It might not happen. But I want to be more organized, and I want to be more selective in what I play. Because last year I felt like I dabbled in too many games, and I didn't complete as many games as I would want to have completed. So I feel like I need to be a bit more selective in picking and choosing which games I want to play, and I want to play them to completion before moving on to the next one.
Can we include the co-op games that you've started with me?
Yes. Yeah, Dying Light 2, right? And Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Yes, I haven't forgotten about them. They're still installed. They're on my PC.
There's another one though, because I did promise you that I'd host some co-op games, some couch co-op games with Dante on your on your channel. So I've got that as a New Year's as a goal.
Nice. Yes, definitely.
One of my goals for your channel.
Awesome. That's fine. I definitely do want that. And then obviously the other thing is, I guess more of my own mindset kind of thing is sometimes being a content creator on YouTube can get quite disheartening. Just if you put so much effort into a video and it doesn't get picked up by the algorithm. And we all know that the YouTube algorithm at the moment is dire. It is utterly crap. And then unless you are making content that is either really clickbaity, really negative and critical of something, or completely one way of the spectrum or another way of the spectrum, completely strong opinion, you just don't get picked up on the algorithm. I've noticed that. I feel like YouTube's going the way of Facebook in the way in which it plugs certain content that's controversial that gets clicks, right? And I have noticed that. It works now. And I don't want to let myself become controlled by that algorithm. I'm not going to make content that YouTube wants me to make. I will make content.
Let's play them at their own game, guys, in the chat. Give us suggestions for parody clickbait videos you'd like to see us make.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to make content that I'm passionate. I've done that since the start of my channel, and I've always felt that I want to make content I want to make, that I'm passionate about, and I'm going to continue to do that. And people will watch it if they're interested. So I don't do this as a living. And I know a lot of people do it as a living, and therefore they have to pander to that algorithm, and they have to produce content constantly. and a certain type of content as well. You know what I mean? You look at some of the titles and it's like, you've told me nothing, dude. Like,
9 out of 10 people wouldn't eat this Pokemon.
All right. Just random. Oh
This
my!
changes
This changes
everything.
everything, and it changes nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I don't want to get drawn into.
You
that.
haven't told me what this is.
I know.
This is a
I know.
20-minute video that tells me nothing.
Nothing. I know. So, but it gets like 100, 200,000
Yeah,
views, if
so
not more. So it's just one of those things. So yeah, that's definitely one thing. And then the last thing probably is I want to keep growing my community, because I really enjoyed building a Discord community, starting that last year, and I want to continue to grow that. And I want to do more things with my community. I want to do more things specifically on Discord. Hopefully grow membership. That would be nice, and Patreon to support the channel. Please support the channel any way you can do. It is massively appreciated, believe me. But yeah, so I'd like to grow my community if possible, and just keep growing. I just want to keep growing, and I hope people will continue to enjoy the content and tune in for it. So that's pretty much my New Year's resolutions. Yeah. So yes, that is obviously our very first podcast in 2023. Hope you guys enjoyed it, enjoyed listening to us. I will be putting this up on audio format as well, on hopefully on Spotify and Podbean, I think is the other one, but I'll put links in here if you do prefer to listen to this in audio format. And yeah, do let us know, guys, how you enjoyed this format. If you've got any suggestions for topics that you'd like to cover in our main feature, any questions that you want to ask us for the questions from the community section, do post those in the comment section below as well. Thank you to everybody who listened, who joined in, who watched, whatever platform you're watching this on or listening to. Thank you so much for your support, guys. It is appreciated. Hope you guys have a great week. Of course, take care, and we know what I'm going to say. As always, happy gaming.
Johnny!
Bye!
Bye, guys. Take care.